There we go. I think my microphone wasn't working, but now it is on. All right, now we're figuring out what was causing my computer to be so laggy. Don't know. Yeah, we finished all this stuff over here. Now we're just waiting for the computer to work for me. So now the name of the game is to get the stuff south of Manchester complete, which means we're going to move back to the huge amount of National Rail services departing south out of Manchester Piccadilly. You can see huge amount of services departing southbound out of Manchester Piccadilly. Um, I need to do something. Let's do this and close out of that. So the chat screen on the stream manager is not working, so I have to pull the stream up on a different device, but that different device also has my notes about all the mainline services, which means I have to pull up the stream on a different device. So that's what I'm doing now. All right, the stream is up on the third device, so I can now view the chat. And then I have my notes pulled up on the second device. And obviously the first device is my computer, which has Adobe Illustrator and Firefox on it. Just double check that that's off. That is off. Perfect. Okay. Yes. The insane amount of services is departing south out of Manchester Piccadilly. I have not color coded the northern services yet. Um, I'll get to that eventually, but there's a lot of them. That's going to be a lot of colors. What has been color coded are the National Rail services operated by operators other than Northern Trains. That's TransPennine Express, Avanti West Coast, Transport for Wales Rail, East Midlands Railway, uh, and Cross Country. Those services have been color coded. Also, obviously, Manchester Metrolink services have been color coded as well, but that's not relevant for quite right now, as right now we're working on National Rail. So let me consult my notes. Actually, I could probably pull my notes up on. Yeah, just leave it on. Okay. So all these services over here are services that are curving off to the. Let me pull up my map. Services that are curving off this way, going via Ardwick, Ashbury, Squirton, Fairfield, etc. And then, oh, that train guy. Hello. So services curving off towards the east. Yeah, to the east. We have the TransPennine Express service from Piccadilly to York via Wakefield Kirkgate. That's going to run up this way to Stalybridge and up to Mossley. And then the next one we have is Manchester Piccadilly to Sheffield. Wait. There's a disconnect between the notes and what the actual map is showing. I'm guessing, yep, I remember messing with the map. I forgot to change the list, so the map is correct. So the next one in that case is the Glossop line, which is Piccadilly to Hadfield via Glossop. I'll go ahead and show that on the Open Railway map. So Piccadilly to Glossop via Hadfield, we're going to run down, or Piccadilly to Hadfield via Glossop. So we're going to run down this way, Flowery Field, Godley, Hattersley, Broadbottom, Dinting, then to Glossop, and then reverse back up to Hadfield. So that's going to be the next service. Right now, I'm just trying to get all the services that run to the east out of the way so I can focus on the services that run to the south, which are going to be the ones that are going to actually be of importance when it comes to the tram routes that run to the south. So we need to, so yeah, that's Glossop Line. The next one is Hope Valley Line to Rose Hill Marple. This one is Hope Valley Line to Sheffield, and this is Hope Valley Line to New Mills Central. Next up, we have the Avanti West Coast E route via Crewe. There are two different routes that Avanti West Coast trains take to get to London from Manchester. One of them is via Crewe, and one of them is via Stoke-on-Trent. Avanti West Coast identifies them both as the E service or the E service. Um, but there are two different routes. So EC, E route via Crewe, ES, E route via Stoke-on-Trent. Drink. So E route via Crewe. Let's pull up the map and double check that it is actually in the right spot. All right. Pardon my not complete knowledge of UK geography, as I do have to go hunting locations down. Actually, why am I doing that? I can search for it. Search Crewe. Crewe Station. Crewe Station is there. Let's see how that relates to Manchester. I see. So then where do the Stoke-on-Trent trains go? Ah, I had them reversed. I see. Yes, I had them reversed on the map. So this should actually be E route via Stoke-on-Trent. No. Escape. Go away. So this should actually be E route via Stoke-on-Trent. So ES. It'll work. ES. That's to Euston via Stoke-on-Trent, which means this one is Euston via Crewe, or E route to via Crewe. Just happens to be that the E route runs into Euston. I guess all Avanti West Coast routes run into Euston. Uh, yeah. Are there any Avanti West Coast units services that run not to Euston? I don't think so. Yeah. I think every Avanti West Coast service has one of its terminus. I think one of the termini of all Avanti West Coast services is Euston, I believe. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's correct. All right, so we have Euston to or E route via Stoke-on-Trent. So the E route via Stoke-on-Trent. Come on, Firefox. Whoops. So the E route via Stoke-on-Trent. It's gonna come down this way, so that's right. Actually, any services. Let's see. I think I'm missing something. That's gonna be whatever service runs to Woodsmore. Unless that is see. Hope Valley line to New Mills Central. Let's see. New Mills Central. Bennington, Redbury, Raw Miley. Yeah, that one runs down that way. Okay. What about the other ones? No, that's the gossip. No, okay, so this is in the wrong order. I'm missing the service that runs to Woodsmore, Middlewood, Disley, maybe Disley. I don't know. Missing that service. So let's find it. I'm guessing that's a northern service. Actually, I can just search for the station. So guessing that's northern. Hmm. Found it. Manchester Piccadilly to Buxton, Manchester Piccadilly to Hazel Grove. Hello, Summer Gamer. Or Somo Gamer. So yeah, Manchester Piccadilly to Buxton and Hazel Grove is actually going to be to the right of, yes. So let's find it. We just have to do some rearranging here, unfortunately. NYC, NYC, that, oh my God, NYC. Maybe that's a huge undertaking because that's for NYC, you've got all the ferry operators, you've got all three commuter railroads, plus Amtrak, plus the subway, Staten Island Railway, the air trains, what else is there? Newark Light Rail, PATH, Hudson Bergen Light Rail. That's that's a lot. Like I've started working on it, and that's gonna be like that'll be like a multi-month like this. That'll take me a long time. But yeah, if you want to see me work on it on stream, I'd be happy to do that. It's just that one's going to take a very long time to complete, unfortunately, just because of how insanely complicated New York's transit system is. Um, because if I make a transit map for New York, I'd go all out and include basically every mode of higher order transit. That's uh, mainline rail, metro, light rail, um, cable-based transit, water transit. I think that's it. And then true BRT if there's any true BRT, but from what I recall, New York City doesn't have any true BRT. It just has BRT Light. Whereas Manchester's a little bit more simple because Manchester just has, as far as higher order transit, Manchester just has the National Rail services, which granted there are a lot of them, but it just has National Rail and Metrolink. So it's a little bit more simple. However, I put these services in the wrong order. Uh, on the map. So I need to do some rearranging to get everything in the right order. By right order, I mean I want them in the order so that there's not going to be any crossing over. So for example, let's say this service wants to go to the east. Well, then in that case, I want this service to be over on this side so it's not crossing over the other lines. Now, there is going to be some crossing over just because we have the 8 services that are running via Manchester Oxford Road. Um, these services, unfortunately, some of them do run to the east, so there will be some crossover there. But as much as possible, I'd like to avoid having crazy amounts of crossover, just because it makes things look not as neat and clean. Um, this is the what number transit map is this? Let's see. I don't remember what number transit map this is, but that's besides the point. So yes, rearranging the services. Actually, I'm gonna pull up. That's a bad idea because I might show personal information, so I'm not gonna do that. All right. So northern route to York, that's good. Glossop line, that's good. Then the three Hope Valley line services, that's good. The next one on the list, or the next two on the list, are the pulled up on the service diagram. The next two on the list are going to be the Manchester Piccadilly to Buxton and Manchester Piccadilly to Hazel Grove. That is, what line is that? Let's see. So that's going to be the Buxton line. Right? Buxton line. Yeah. So that's the Buxton line. So there. I can see them. I can see their tags. Scroll, please. Okay. So we need to move these two to here and here. So let's do that. Get everything in the correct order. Move these out of the way. If it'll load, there we go. All right, I need to close some stuff because it is lagging out like crazy. We can close that. We can close that and that. We want to save this. Save it. Save it. Then close. Okay. We can close out of this. What else can I close? All right, maybe that'll work now. Okay. So yes, we move that to there, and then Buxton line to Hazel Grove. That's what BHG stands for. BB Buxton line to Buxton line to Buxton. Move that over to here. And then put it into its place. Like that. Okay, so then we have the two Buxton line services. That's correct now. All right, what comes next? What comes next? Oh, that's the wrong Firefox window. Buxton line, check. Next up, Firefox is not wanting to pull up for me. This is very unfortunate, very annoying. Is it gonna pull up finally? Okay, next up on our list, we have services running from Cheadle Home to Bramwell, Poynton, Adlington, Cheshire. Well, that's going to be outside of the scope of the video. So actually, Cheadle Home, is that even in? Is Cheadle Home even in Greater Manchester? Let's see. Actually, is Woodsmore even in Greater Manchester? Woodsmore is in Greater Manchester. Is Cheadle Home in Greater Manchester? Cheadle Home is in Greater Manchester. What about the next one down the line? Bramhall. Is Bramhall in Greater Manchester? Let's see. Is Bramhall in Greater Manchester? It is in Greater Manchester, which means you have to mind the split. So, next, whoops. So next in the pecking order is going to be all services running down the line whose line prefix is MCH. Actually, we can zoom in there and see what line that is. The line is the Stafford to Manchester line. So all services running via the Stafford to Manchester line are going to be next. I'm guessing the next junction is outside of Greater Manchester. Yeah, that's definitely outside of Greater Manchester. So it doesn't really matter the order of the services on here, just that they are all um, off into this next like sort of chunk of um, services. So all services running via Bramhall, Poynton, Adlington, those services are next. Actually, that's going to be Avanti West Coast. Avanti West Coast is going to be one of those services. So I think we'll go back to Adobe Illustrator. First of all, change the color of this just so the placeholder yellow. Once again, urban services will get their own individual colors. Just that's something I'll probably wind up doing off camera, as that's just going to be like a lot of like trial and error, just finding colors that don't clash with each other and stand out. Um, that could take a while, so I'll do that off camera. I'll probably wind up doing that after the map is complete, when I can get a full picture of how everything looks. Um, so this map will be most likely will be used in some capacity in my Manchester Public Transport Explained video, which will be coming out towards the end of the month. All right, CMS be gone because on the West Coast via Stoke-on-Trent, or E route via Stoke-on-Trent, is going in your place. Like so. And we want to color this Avanti West Coast E route. It's not black. It looks black on the screen, but it's not actually black. I don't know how to describe the color. What website? This is Adobe Illustrator. Dang it. I don't want to move you. I want to recolor you. This is Adobe Illustrator. Yeah. Doing this in Adobe Illustrator. And then I'm using as um, a reference for track layout, etc. I'm using, whatchamacallit? I am using Open Railway Map, and then to get service patterns, I'm using just Wikipedia. Okay, we want to recolor you to the already saved Avanti West Coast E route, kinda off black, I guess is how we'll describe it. Is this it? Avanti E, that is it. There we go. All right. Next up, we have all other services running via, I guess, via Stoke-on-Trent, essentially. Yeah, all services running via Stoke-on-Trent. So let's check Northern. Manchester Piccadilly to Stoke-on-Trent. We're gonna have that. Uh, Bramall, what line is that? That is Stafford to Manchester. Let's see, any other services? No, no. That one's gonna be covered later. This one, no, not that one. Yeah, not those two. So it looks like we're just dealing, as far as northern services go, looks like the only one that runs in the direction of Stoke-on-Trent is the Piccadilly to Stoke-on-Trent service. Um, yeah, because those four are done. Yes. All right. Class of Hope Valley. That's done. So I think it's just that one for Northern. So now we got to check the other operators. East Midlands. Oh yeah, that's right. I gotta cut the others. I got to cut the services running from Moxford Road over. We'll get to that at the end. We'll get to that at the end. Okay. Actually, we've reached the point. All right. Yeah, that's gonna curve off. We'll come back to where that actually goes after it curves off in a bit. Right now, the idea is to get basically the services that run along the West Coast Main Line's branch to Manchester. Get that done, which will then allow me to finish up the Metrolink as I am waiting on. I'm basically for spacing purposes. I want to get the mainline railways south out of Manchester done, and then I can slot in the tramlink stops accordingly, and then that'll have the Manchester Metrolink complete, which will then allow me to finish the rest of the national rail services. That will be moment that'll also may not be this stream. That could be either off camera or on next stream whenever I decide to do that. Especially because I'm going back to school soon, so I will not have as much time to work on this kind of thing. All right, so Hope Valley Line is going to curve off to the east. Buxton Line. Does the Buxton Line? Okay, so I'm basically looking out right now. Does it curve off to the east at Ashbury's? Yes or no? So the answer, so all other services that terminate or originate at Piccadilly do not curve to the east at Ashbury's. Therefore, they continue straight, which means we can go ahead and add in. No, I was figuring out the order. That's right. I need to figure out the order first. Figure out the order. I need to get the order straight before I start messing with other stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to get confused. Because I know how my brain works, and I will get confused if I don't try to do the other stuff first. So after this, we'll do the northern service to Stoke-on-Trent. All right, that should be SM for Stafford to Manchester. Should be this one. Put that there. Color this yellow for placeholder color, or purple. Both are being used as the placeholder color currently. All right. Just wait for it to let me change the color. Change it from cross country red to the placeholder, which is actually just the yellow that's used for the Manchester Metrolink's yellow service. I hesitate to say line as they're not officially called lines, but they're just referred to, services are basically referred to by where they're going. I honestly think Metrolink should start calling them by their colors or name the lines, um, or give them numbers. I don't know. Either in any three of those would work, but just some way to differentiate between lines on the Manchester Metrolink without just referring to destination. Um, that's my opinion. Obviously, I don't work for Transport for Greater Manchester, so not my call to make. Cheadle Hume, of course it is. I gotta love British toponym pronunciations. That's Cheadle 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 Hume. That's absolutely incredible. British toponym pronunciations never cease to amaze me. Um, oh yes, I love it. Okay, Stockport or Stafford to Manchester line. Cheadle Hume. I love that. Okay, Stafford to Manchester line is the next one on the pecking order. Next up, and that is all for northern services running down this way. Now we need to check and make sure none of the other services are running that way. So EMR only runs a through service. TPE, that's TP. Might as well check it just in case. Piccadilly to Cardiff Central. Let's see. No, we're running Stockport, Winslow to Crewe. Stockport, Winslow to Crewe. So no. EMR no, Northern no, TPE, Trans-Pennine Express. Let's see. That one is a through service. That one's a through service. All right, there's three, really technically four, but I count these two as one. So three through services and one terminating service. Yeah, that one's through. No, that one's already been covered, so it's not that. What else is there? There is cross country. Let's open a new tab. Pull up the cross country timetable. Not timetable, just the service table. Okay, Plymouth to Edinburgh. No. No. Oh yes, Temple Meads to Piccadilly. Aha! I see a service that runs via Stoke-on-Trent. It's the cross-country service from Bristol Temple Meads to Manchester Piccadilly. What about the service from Bournemouth to Manchester Piccadilly? Let's see. Also runs via Stoke-on-Trent. Both cross-country services running into Manchester Piccadilly run via Stoke-on-Trent, which means they run via this line right here, which means they are... Actually, do I want to combine them into one? Let's see. That looks very similar to the Manchester Airport to Glasgow/Edinburgh. Let's see. Birmingham New Street. Oh no, they actually have like significantly different stopping patterns. Okay, so they are not going to be combined into one because they have two different stopping patterns. So there's Birmingham to Manchester. Slot it into place. Slot it into place, and then Bristol Temple Meads. Right, it's Bristol Temple Meads, and then did I get that right? It's Bristol Temple Meads and Birmingham to Manchester. Those are the services. Bournemouth, not Birmingham. Bournemouth and Bristol Temple Meads. Okay. This one will go here. This one will go. There we go. Bournemouth to or Bristol Temple Meads to Manchester. Bournemouth to Manchester. Then we want to color this one cross country red. Color it cross country red. Let's find it on my color palette. I think this one's it. Cross country red. Dunzo. All right, what is next? So that's that's Stafford to Manchester line complete. So next up, we have, I believe all that leaves is, yes, West Coast Main Line services via Stockport or uh, via airport/Style. And I think that's a good place to take a quick little break. I will be back in a few moments. Alrighty, and we're back. Ronnie services at Cheadle Hume go via Macclesfield, the other via Crewe. Yes. Yeah, because the Cheadle Hume is via Stoke-on-Trent, and then the services via Crewe. Yes. Okay, so where we left off, make sure audio is coming through. Check, check, check. Okay, audio is coming through. So yes, where we left off last, we finished up with the uh what is that? That's the Stafford to Manchester line. That's done. So next we have West Coast Main Line services that are running via what's the name of the station? Running via Stockport versus running via the airport slash Style, etc. Basically, there's two routes to get to the West Coast Main Line. At least going south out of Manchester Piccadilly, you can either take the east route, which is via Stockport, or the west route, which is via the airport. So we're going to start with the services taking the east route, so the route via Stockport. So let's check that. Cross country's done, so we can change this tab over to Avanti West Coast. We want the E route. Stafford, then Crewe. There's Crewe. Where's Stafford? It says it stops at. Okay, it says it stops at Stafford. Oh, Stafford south of Crewe. We're reading it in the wrong order because it's Stockport, then Winslow, then Crewe. That's right. Yes. So Stockport. Oh yeah, because Stafford was where when I was in the UK last year. That was where the switch failed, and basically I was on an Avanti West Coast train from Manchester to London. It was I don't know. We probably left Manchester at like 7:30 p.m. And on this train, there was a switch issue near Stafford. Said switch issue caused us to have to stop. The driver changed ends. We reversed back north up the West Coast main line, and then diverted via a different route. I forgot exactly which route we took. Uh, or basically, we went the long way around into London. That delay caused us to get into London after midnight, aka after the tube stopped running for the night. So we got a free ride in a London black cab, which, that's kind of cool. And I also got a full refund on the tickets because thank you, Delay Repay. Just that's a bit of a tangent, but you know, my interesting Avanti West Coast e-route story. Maybe I'll share more about that in my Q&A video at the end of the month. Stockport. So the first service, Avanti West Coast via Crewe. That's correct. All right. Let's check on the Transport for Wales service to Cardiff Central. Stockport, Winslow. Okay. So the transport for Wales service will also be taking the eastern route. So then we can slot that guy in right there. Oh, did it slot in? I can't. I, excuse me, Transport for Wales. Would you like to, I don't know, slot in, please? Okay, I think I know why my computer's lagging so much. I think it's because, sorry, my southern accent just came out for a bit. Let's not do that. Um, I think I have too many tabs open. So let's pull out the tabs that I need for this stream and then close the rest. I think that will fix the lag issue. Let's see. Nope, that's the wrong thing. I don't even know what YouTube video this is. Let's see. We'll find out together. What what YouTube video is this? Oh no, I guess if I'm a betting man, I'm gonna guess this is Secrets of Test Track from a YouTuber called Offhand Disney. Let's see if I'm correct. Oh, it's a GR, Grim Reapers, another really good YouTube channel. Highly recommend this YouTube channel. They do shenanigans in a game called DCS and another game called Sea Power. Um, we're not going to watch that because that's outside the scope of this stream. Although I would recommend checking out their channel. Uh, yeah, very fun group of guys over there, and a few gals too. Put that there. Yes. Let's continue with the tabbing. Let's put that YouTube video back in the main group of tabs, and then continue. Pull this out. Pull this out. Last one. Open railway map. And close the rest of the tabs. Be gone. I said be gone. Why are we not closing? Why are we not closing tabs? There we go. All right, now we are left with the stream dashboard tab and the 7 tabs I am using for the actual stream. Hopefully this will clear up the lag issues. Hopefully. I guess not. Well, maybe it'll work in the long run. I would love to get to go back to Manchester. Um, Go to the UK in general, because I went over in March, but I was only there for 3 days. 'Cause I went for a very specific purpose, and I was trying to go spend as little money as possible. So I went for 3 days. Um, I went to go behind the scenes of the Thailand Metro. Long story short, there's lots of long story about how I got is even able to get permission to do that. But I did make a 4-part vlog series about it. Highly recommend checking that out on my channel. Um, There's also explainer videos about the Canning Metro and Newcastle Transport on the channel as well. I will also once I get footage of Marta's new trains, I will be doing a transit showdown between Newcastle and Atlanta as well. So we can expect that to come out probably sometime next year because Marta's new trains are not supposed to enter service until the end of the year at the earliest. It's very sad. Okay, so you want to color this line TPFW, not TPFW. Want to color this line TFW red. So this is a Transport for Wales rail service. I believe it's this one. It is this one. All right, it leaves us with 4 northern services. Shouldn't be too hard to slot those into place. All right. That's going to be Crewe to Manchester via Alderley Edge. That's Crewe to Manchester via Airport. Now the question is, what is CMS and what is MC? So I know Crewe to Manchester via Airport is going to be all on the left because obviously that runs via the airport. Crewe to Manchester via Alderley Edge. Let's see, what route does that take? Actually, where's Alderley Edge? There. All right, which route do we take? Northern. Okay, that should be via Stockport, not Alderley Edge. What's CMS? Let me look at my list. Ah, there's a Manchester Piccadilly to Alderley Edge. So that's not CMAE, that's just MAE, Manchester to Alderley Edge. Oh no, CM for Crewe to Manchester line. Crewe to Manchester line, Alderley Edge, Crewe to Manchester line via Airport, Crewe to Manchester line via Stockport. That's right. So then we can put this one in its rightful place. So I thought closing the tabs would stop the lag, but apparently not. Right, and then this one should be Manchester Piccadilly to Chester. Let's check the route for that. It's Manchester to Chester. Oh yeah, MC Mid Cheshire. That's right. Right. Oh really? That's the Mid Chester line. Actually, Stockport. Oh no, did the wrong thing. Did the wrong thing. Manchester, Stockport, and then cut across the navigation road. Let's see. Stockport, and then across the navigation road like that. So that's right, and then that's right. Right. Service to Alderley Edge runs via airport. Is that correct? That's Alderley Edge. Nope, runs via Stockport as well. Okay. I got a chance to go to Victoria. Did I go to? No, I didn't. Well, okay. I passed through it. So we took the tram to the Manchester Transport Museum. So I passed through it on the way to the Manchester Transport Museum, but I didn't actually get a chance to stop and look around inside Victoria. Um, yeah, we had one day, like we were there for one day, and I wanted to make sure to go to the Manchester Transport Museum, which it probably took like 1 or 2 hours to go through that entire thing because I'm the type of person who will spend a lot of time at a museum. And then I filmed trams at um what's what's the name of the stop? Deansgate Castlefield for that was probably like 30 minutes. I did some filming of trams there. And then I was at what's the name of the station? Manchester Oxford Road filming trains for probably like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. Um yeah, so most of the time was spent just watching trains. But the next time I go to Manchester, I definitely want to actually take the time to check out Victoria. Um, because I do know it's a really pretty station. And also the way that the tram platforms are set up, like underneath the canopy, but also like separate from the main line platforms is really cool. Okay, so all of our services that originate at Manchester Piccadilly are now in the correct order. These services, the ones that run through Manchester Piccadilly running via Oxford Road, are organized in the correct order for the split here slash up here, which means there is going to be some crossing over south of Piccadilly, unfortunately. It just is what it is. So I'm actually going to move these guys out of the way so we can actually extend the lines. Okie dokie. So first up, we have Transpennine Express North Route to Redcar Central. Let's see where that one goes. Transpennine Express, Manchester Airport to Redcar Central. That is a Manchester Airport service. So that one does not need to cut across. Next up, we have F. It is Manchester Airport to Barrow and Furness. So let's find it on here. So airport to Blackpool, airport to Barrow and Furness. Oh, once again, that's an airport service. So running straight, that's airport to Blackpool. So that's also running straight. That is English Scottish route, Transpennine Express, which also originates at the airport. LMA, that's Liverpool to Manchester via. That's Liverpool to Manchester from the airport, another airport service. And then I got another airport service. All right, these two on the left do not run to the airport. So first we have the TPE South route. Where does that one cut across to? Piccadilly, Stockport. Stockport to Sheffield. I was right about which way it was to Sheffield. Let's go. Yeah, so Sheffield, and so it's going to cut across. So it's going to run to Stockport and then cut across on to that line. guessing the EMR service is going to be the exact same. Stockport to Sheffield, yes. So these services curve out that way. This is now where things get a little bit complicated. Um, yeah, complicated. So I have to get the spacing so that the spacing between tram stops and mainline rail stops isn't wonky. So that, like, because I don't want, for example, let's say, let's get an example. So, okay, let's see. Withington and Malden Road are more or less at the same latitude. So I would like to avoid having Withington be like up here on the map and Malden Road be down here on the map. So I want to get the spacing between stops such that tram stops and stations that are roughly the same latitude are roughly parallel to each other, or roughly on a parallel line to each other on the map. And basically we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corridors to worry about while heading about roughly 6 corridors heading south to worry about to get all aligned together. So we're gonna start with the beginning of the National Rail because it's gonna take up a lot of space on the map because of the crossovers, etc. So we'll start with that. And then we're not even gonna get we're not even gonna get all the way down to the split. Yeah, we're not even gonna get all the way to the split yet. Yet. We just want to You're right. Let's start extending lines. Whoops. Let me go ahead and save before it crashes. And I lose all the work I've done. Very annoying. So I can give you all a little, shall we say, sneak of the next video. Or let's say there's anyone watching right now, but I know someone coming back and watch the replay. Maybe if they get this far in the replay, they might want to get a look at a little preview of this week's video, which is a track layout breakdown of Broadway Junction. Oh, thank you, Andrew Lewison. Yeah, Manchester Transport explained. Yes, I'm looking forward to making it. It'll be a fun one. And I've got my own footage of the trams and all 6 operators that run through the area. Because I did filming at 2 locations for the trams and 1 location for 2 locations for the tram, 1 location for the tram, 2 locations for National Rail. Yep. So here's a little sneak peek track layout of Broadway Junction, both historic and current. Okay, it's a little sneak peek. Broadway Junction being a uh, crazy interlocking on, or actually just a junction. It's not just an interlocking. It's a crazy junction on New York City subway in Brooklyn. All right, moving back to this. Let's actually probably want to zoom out for this. Let's oh, let's select this line, please. Let's pull all these lines from the through tracks at Piccadilly out. Please let me extend the line. There we go. Actually, I'm going to remove this. That way I can start these lines curving a little bit sooner. All right. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Do we want to work this stuff? That's very annoying. Let's try to rectify that situation. Delete, delete. 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 How many dots are there? Up. Went one too far. Oh, comment. Oh, thanks for checking out some of my videos. And yeah, Manchester Transport Explained will be coming out. Well, there's a release schedule post in the post sections of the channel, so I forgot exactly what the date is, but the date for the release will be on the release schedule, which is in the posts tab. Yeah, this is very annoying. All right, let's see if that fixed it. It did. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. Now to do the parallel lines trick. Object, path, offset path, done. I'm gonna load the offset path. Okay. Not responding. There we go. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Alrighty, and then we take the scissors tool. Cut, and cut, and cut, and cut. Select, delete. Select and delete. And then do it again. Actually, I'm gonna, yeah, I'm gonna do something. Let's push everything back. Actually move the entire line, or did that just move the single anchor point? It just moved the single anchor point. Good. Going forward, I need to figure out a way to get Illustrator to not lag while I'm streaming on OBS. There's gotta be a way to do it. I'll have to do some digging on that because this is annoying. All right. This is really laggy. I think I'm gonna end this stream here, work on it some more, and then I'm going to try to figure out how to get Adobe Illustrator to not lag while OBS is simultaneously streaming. So, thank you for watching if you made it to the end, or if you're watching the replay, you've watched it all the way through. Thank you, and I guess for UK time, good night.